June 15th, Seattle. Spain walk out as the pre-tournament favorite, European champions. A squad worth more than some entire leagues. Across from them, Cape Verde, an archipelago of 500,000 people, ranked far below them at their first World Cup ever. 90 minutes later, 0-0. The Spanish keeper barely moved. The Cape Verde keeper, a man named Vozinha, threw himself at everything, then woke up the next morning with 2 million new followers. Spain had the ball almost the whole match, they just had nowhere to put it. And that night, one question hung over the result that nobody wanted to ask straight. Not, was that bad luck? A bigger one. The question this whole video is going to chase down to its root. Why do giants actually fail? Not the polite answer, not anything can happen in football. The real one. Because when a giant goes home, the word everyone reaches for is the same every time. Shock. Stunning. Nobody saw it coming. That word is almost always a lie. And to see why, you have to keep narrowing, past the headline, past the result, past the excuses, until you hit the thing underneath that was there the whole time. So let's narrow. First layer, the idea that these exits are random, they are not. Take Germany. 4-time world champions, a football culture built like a machine. In 2018, they went to Russia as defending champions and didn't survive the group. People called it a shock. Then in 2022, they did it again, out in the group stage, 2 tournaments running, the first time in their history they'd failed back-to-back. By the second time, calling it a shock is just refusing to look. A trophy cabinet does not play left back. Pedigree guarantees nothing once the whistle goes. So it isn't random. Strike that layer. Second layer, maybe then the warning sign is simply a bad early result. A draw, a loss, a wobble. Spot that, and you've spotted the doom. Tempting, also wrong. Argentina, 2022, first match of the tournament they lose to Saudi Arabia. The whole country stops breathing. 5 weeks later, they're world champions. So an early stumble is not a verdict. It's a reading on a gauge, and a gauge only matters if you know what it's measuring. Which is the real question. Strike that layer too. What is the wobble actually measuring? Narrow again. On the surface, there look like several different ways a giant cracks. A team that lives or dies by 1 star, watch them against a packed defense where the magic is smothered, and the whole plan turns out to have been one man's good day. Portugal opened this tournament drawing 1-1 with DR Congo, and the old argument flared straight back up that maybe the team flows better when it isn't bent around a single superstar. Or a team that kept its winning core a year too long. Argentina arrived holding 17 of the 26 names that lifted the cup in 2022 and over a 39-day tournament in summer heat. Legs that were perfect 3 years ago are simply 3 years older. Or a team whose depth turns out to be paper. Brazil came in already missing pieces, young forwards injured, others not fit, and a squad that looked 4 deep in every position can go thin in a single bad week of training. 3 different cracks: over-reliance, age, depletion. And here's the turn. They are not 3 problems. They are 3 faces of one. Watch what every one of them does at the decisive moment. The star is marked out of the game. The old legs slow in the 80th minute. The injuries strip the bench bare. In every case, the team arrives at the same dead end. The first plan stops working, and there is no second one. That's the root, not bad luck, not age, not one absent striker, no plan B. Call it the favorites trap. A top team has the ball, has the talent, has 70% possession, and runs straight into a low block. 10 men behind the line, no space, no gaps. They pass and pass, sideways, the clock bleeds, the panic creeps in. They own every tool except the one that breaks down a parked bus. That's how a side that should win 3-0 grinds to 0-0 and then loses its nerve. Spain's opening night in Seattle wasn't a fluke. It was a live 90-minute demonstration of exactly that shape. And the cruel part is what this route does to time. It hides. In the group stage, you can get away with having no plan B, and this year more than ever, because the format changed. 48 teams now, 12 groups. 32 of those 48 go through to the knockouts. 2/3 of the field survives the group. So the group stage almost never eliminates a giant anymore. The old drama of a big name crashing out in week 1 is mostly gone. The net is simply too wide to catch them. That sounds like protection. It's the opposite. It just moves the execution date. The team with no second idea isn't filtered out early. It's waved through into the first or second knockout round where it meets a sharp, organized, mid-tier side that wants nothing but a 0-0 and a shootout. The format doesn't save the Giants. It delays the ambush and makes it land harder. And then there's the thing that drags every flaw to the surface at once: heat. This is a summer tournament across North America, and some of these venues are brutal. Researchers who study performance in extreme heat keep finding the same grim pattern. Tired players in high temperatures make more mistakes, and matches are likelier to crawl to penalties because spent legs can't break a stubborn opponent down. Heat doesn't invent a weakness. It finds the one already there and leans on it. The single star, the aging spine, the thin squad, heat exposes all of them in the same instant, deep in the second half, when the tank is empty and there's still no plan B. So let me put it to you, because you've been watching this tournament too. Which big team are you quietly worried about? And be honest about the answer. Is it the squad or is it just nerves? There's a real difference between "I've got a bad feeling" and "I can name the crack." If this is helping you tell those two apart, stick around. That's the whole reason this channel exists. Now the careful part. It's easy to point at one team and announce they're going home, and it's both unkind and often flat wrong. Football has a long history of making confident people look silly. Spain answered that flat opening by putting 4 past Saudi Arabia, then beating Uruguay. Brazil followed the Morocco draw by winning comfortably. Warning signs get answered all the time. So this isn't a prediction, it's a lens. When you watch the rest of this tournament, don't ask, "Are they good?" Ask the one question everything narrowed down to. When their first plan is smothered by a packed defense, by a marked-out star, by tired legs, by an empty bench, is there a second one? The team carrying the most risk isn't the one that drew once. It's the one where you ask that question and keep coming up empty. Football can still defy every word of this. It usually defies somebody. That's why we watch. But here's where it leaves me. Somewhere in this tournament right now, the next so-called shock is already underway. Not in the score. The score hasn't come yet. In the performance. In the 70% possession that goes nowhere. In the half second, the legs are late. In the substitute who changes nothing because there was never a second plan to bring on. The fingerprints are already on the pitch. You just have to know that there's only ever been one thing to look for: